In this video, I'll go through the basics of how cabinets work in Chief Architect. Let's begin by looking at the cabinet tools available in the program. When you click on the Cabinet Parent tool in the toolbar, you will see the cabinet tools on the left side of my screen. I'll expand this view to make it easy to see the cabinet tool names. These same tools are available in the Build menu under Cabinet. Cabinets can be placed in a 3D view, in a floor plan view, or in a wall elevation. I'll start the process in a 3D view. When you place a cabinet, it is using the default settings from the program's template plan. You can customize the template plan with styles of your choosing. To resize this cabinet, you can click on the front of the cabinet. Notice the red handle on the right hand side, and as I click and drag, this cabinet is bumping in 3-inch increments. Notice that the cabinet door became a double door once I resized it to 30 inches. This is a default you can control, and currently out of the box, after 26 inches, it will become a double door. In the lower left-hand section of the menu is an open button for the cabinet. When the cabinet specification opens, at the top of the dialog on the general panel is the type of cabinet. You can assign this to a corner or several other styles. This cabinet can be sized down to the 1/16 of an inch from the width, the height, and the depth. Note that the height of the cabinet includes the countertop, and in this case my countertop is set to be at 1.5 inches. To modify any of the cabinet's face items, click on that face item in the preview panel. Then over in the selected item properties is the item type drop-down. You can choose from a variety of different face items. Currently this is an auto right door. You could change this to a door right and force it to be a much wider door if the cabinet supplier supports that configuration. To customize this cabinet, such as a 3-drawer bank, there's no need to search through the library for specific cabinets. You can easily change the configuration by coming into the item type, choosing the drawer face item, and then you can either add a new face item or you can split this face item horizontally to quickly create a cabinet with a 3-drawer bank. Cabinets are smart objects. They know how to snap to the wall in other cabinets and create an automatic corner cabinet. Using the base cabinet tool, as you approach the corner, you'll see a ghost outline where the cabinet changes to a corner cabinet. Once you click, it will then create that corner cabinet. To make a change to this cabinet, I'm going to press the space bar to get out of cabinet mode. You'll see my cursor change to a pointer. Double click on the cabinet, and to make a change for the diagonal front, you'll find that on the general panel toward the bottom. For diagonal door, you can deselect that and see the cabinet become a pie-shaped cabinet. As I place another cabinet in the opposite corner, you can change this cabinet by double-clicking on it and making it a bow front cabinet or a concave front cabinet by coming over into the cabinet bow depth, and I'm just going to put in -3 inches, and you'll see the cabinet to create a concave shaped cabinet. As I mentioned earlier, cabinets are smart objects. They will bump to one another, and notice that they form and extend the countertop over both of these cabinets. Fixtures and appliances can be inserted into cabinets. I'm going to place a couple more cabinets for the sink base, and I'll resize this to 36 inches, and then an additional cabinet for a dishwasher, and then I'll place one more cabinet off to the right and resize it just a couple of more inches so that it's quite near but not closing the gap between the corner cabinet and the base cabinet. Before I insert the appliances and fixtures into the cabinets, let's talk about how to change the door and drawer style as well as the cabinet box type. I'm going to open up the library browser. In the Chief Architect Core catalog, you'll find generic or custom style doors that you can apply. Come down, find the door style that you want, click on the cabinet to replace the door style. There are manufacturer door styles available. If you scroll down to the manufacturer information, grab a manufacturer, come into their door style, and it's the same process. Click on the door. You can also click on the corresponding drawer style and it's the same process. What makes a cabinet a manufacturer versus a custom cabinet in Chief Architect is a combination of the door, drawer, wood species, and colors available from the manufacturer. For this particular manufacturer, they also have wood types available. You can come down and select the wood type, and I'm just going to come over here, apply this into the cabinet by clicking on it. This applies that wood species. They also have finishes available. If we come down into their finishes, they have both glazes and paints. Let's begin with a glaze finish. Here's a Brandywine Toffee, or all of the glaze colors. Grab the color you want. I'm going to come over. Notice that my cursor is a spray can. That will paint it in a solid body. Since I'm using a glaze, I'm going to first change Material Painter to blend the colors. That will allow me to see through the particular wood species with that stain. This manufacturer has solid paints, and if I were to grab a solid paint, Material Painter is a paint roller. I will first change that back to the spray can and click on the cabinet and make the change. Now you're going to notice a few tools down in my lower edit menu. These are scoping modes for applying the wood species or the paint. These stand for component mode. If I'm in component mode and I only click on a portion of the cabinet, it will go down to the component. The object mode is the entire box, and then there is a room, a floor, and an entire plan that will replace those materials depending on the scoping you have set for the Material Painter. The final thing that makes this cabinet a manufacturer cabinet, if I double click and open it up, on the box construction for the cabinet, you'll see the option to have the cabinet as framed or frameless, and then the overlay information for traditional, full, or specifying that the cabinet is inset. Once you've combined the door, drawer, colors, wood species, and the box construction, you can set that cabinet as your default cabinet, and then all future cabinets will come in looking like that. If I take this cabinet and set it as a default cabinet, little wrench with a plus sign down here, set that as my default cabinet, you're going to notice that all cabinets in my plan, because they have not yet been customized, have changed. And when I place a new cabinet, I'll just place one out in the center, it will have those same attributes that we saved with the original cabinet. Let's go ahead and delete that cabinet. For appliances and fixtures, some appliances go next to cabinets, some appliances and fixtures go inside of cabinets. Let me begin by placing the dishwasher. I'm going to slide up into the catalog, and underneath the appliances in the core library, I'm going to come down to the dishwasher category, find the dishwasher, and click on the cabinet to replace it. The way that dishwashers work in Chief Architect, it will replace the cabinet box, and the advantage in this case is you get an automatic countertop that goes over the top of it. The cabinet box will not show up in your materials list or in your schedule in this case. For sinks, if I come over and browse for a sink, you can also search for it. So if you know the manufacturer's part number, you can type it in, find the sink by right-clicking on it, show in browser. This will jump you down to that manufacturer. If we slide up a little bit, you can see the manufacturer, and then you can grab the sink and come over and click on the particular cabinet. One more appliance. Let's come in and grab a microwave drawer. I'm going to come down to a manufacturer, grab the product, click on the cabinet that I want to insert it into. If you need to make any adjustments in the cabinet, again, press the space bar or escape to get out of selection mode. Double click on the cabinet. You can click on the face item. You'll see that it's an appliance. I usually recommend that you use the cabinet's finish specification for the item height. That will insert it. And if you need to make any changes for your separation value, you can adjust it. Sometimes for the separation, I'll actually make that a blank area and make sure that I have enough clearance for that particular product. Let me move back over into the floor plan view, and let's take a look at our cabinet nomenclature. You can see the nomenclature has updated based on the edits we've made to the cabinets. DW has replaced the cabinet box, the sink base has an SB in front of it, and then the microwave cabinet, notice that it only has a 1 dB 30. You can always open up these cabinets. Just double click to open it up. And then on the cabinet's label panel, you can specify any label that you want. Simply change it from the automatic label. You can come in here and you can put microwave or any other designation. There's also a macro if you wanted to insert the width of the cabinet. I could come down, choose the width macro, and then anytime you make changes to this, it will update, and then your cabinet nomenclature will be matching whatever you need in your floor plan view. Let's take a look at the area that we left a gap in as I zoom in with the wheel on my mouse. There's a couple of ways that this gap can be solved. You could resize the cabinet, you could put a filler in here, or you could put an extended style. Let's begin by placing a cabinet filler. With my cabinet tools still engaged and open, you're going to notice that there are a couple of fillers available for base, wall, and full height. Using the base filler, I'm going to come over here and click and place the filler. You notice that on the filler, it doesn't quite fill the space. I intentionally left this quite large for the purpose of the video. I'm going to just resize it to fill that space. You can see this in the 3D view with the filler. The other option, if I click on that filler and delete it, if you're working with framed cabinets, let me change this to a framed cabinet. I'll go over to the box construction and I'll change this to a framed cabinet. There is the option to have styles that are extended. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and put 5 inches. Press the Tab key. You can see the extended style. These will be trimmed off when they bump to other cabinets or to a wall. And now you can see we've filled the space with an extended style. Let me undo that one more time, and I'll just take this cabinet and bump it to the other cabinet. To download additional content for Chief Architect, whether it's manufacturer or bonus catalogs, you can come up underneath the library and say Get additional content online. This will open up the Chief Architect 3D library. Once you log into the account, if you're a current customer, these catalogs should be free to download. You can come down into different categories. Here are the cabinet companies that you can then download and have available into the program for your usage. Wall cabinets work very similar to the base cabinets. In the floor plan, I'll place the wall cabinets. As I approach the corner, watch the outline change to a ghost outline for a corner wall cabinet. When this occurs, then you can left-click to place that cabinet. Much like the base cabinet, if you want to change the style of this cabinet from a diagonal front, double-click on the cabinet. On the general panel, you can come down and change the box style from a diagonal door to a pie front shape door. In the situation where your cabinet labels may compete, you can click on the cabinet box, and if you zoom in a little bit closer, you'll see a small move handle and a rotation for this label, allowing you to move it. And if you hold your Control key or Command key down on a Mac, you can then override bumping and snapping and adjust that label as you need to for your floor plan view. Let me place one more wall cabinet next to the corner cabinet. We'll resize it slightly, and then let's take a wall elevation and make a few changes to this wall cabinet. Using the wall elevation camera, I'm going to come over and click and drag to create the wall elevation. In the wall elevation, you can click on the cabinets and you can edit them. Again, these cabinets are bumping in 3-inch increments. To resize them, you can come in, click on them, and resize them. To edit this cabinet, you can either double click on the cabinet or there's an open object in the lower left-hand menu. Two things I'll look at for this cabinet. One is to add a crown molding. The other is to add a secondary door for this taller sized cabinet. Let's begin by creating a secondary door. I'm going to come over, click on the face item, and I'm going to use the split horizontal. This creates an exact copy of the other face item. I can come over to the face item height. I'm going to resize this to be 15 inches. If you want this door style to be different, you can come down to the Appliance Door Drawer Specify. You can browse out to the library and change the door style. You can also change them through the drop down, and in the case for glass doors, there is an option to add glass doors. A note, not all manufacturers have separated the component out to enable glass doors. If you need to change the door handle, you may want a smaller sized hardware. You can do that through the library and find a different size of hardware, and there's a few other options you can specify for that upper door. In adding a molding for the cabinet, let's come up to the Moldings panel, and then to add a new molding, Add New. The first thing I'll do is come over to the Chief Architect Core Catalog, and I'm going to add a light rail using a simple rectangular profile. For this light rail, I'm going to change the offset from the bottom, and then for the width, 1/2 inch, and then the height at 1.5 inches. It's difficult to see where that molding is, but it's exactly at the bottom. To use a vertical offset of a negative value will move it off of the box, and if I put in 1.5 inches, it will then position that just below the edge of the box. You can also use the horizontal offset, and if I change that to a -1/2 inch, that will pull it in right to the edge of the box. With this molding, you can change the type of the molding to a light rail if you're going to be generating a molding schedule for your countertop edge or for your crown molding. This will help identify what molding type it is. I'm going to make a copy of this molding, and we're going to use this for the crown at the top. So I'm going to make a copy of it and then make a few changes. I'm going to set it to be at the top, width, and then the height. I'm going to go ahead and set this to just be 3 inches. Use the same horizontal offset, and then for the vertical offset, -3 inches. Let's go ahead and zoom out into the preview panel and take a look. So you can see that crown molding has come in. There's also an option to adjust this for the face item. So for this molding, I'm going to name it to be a crown molding, and then there's an offset for face items. You can see that then makes it flush with that face item below for the crown molding. To stack your moldings, you can come in, Add New one more time, and then I'm going to come over into the crown molding profile, grab one of these profiles, set the information for it. I'm going to go ahead and move this up to the top so it's easy to follow. So I'll just move this up to the top. For the width, I'll just use 2 inches. For the height, I'll use 3 inches. For the horizontal offset, I'll leave that 0 for now. And then the vertical offset, we'll go ahead and set this to be -6 inches, since the molding below it is also 3 inches, and then assign the type to a crown, offset for the face items, and there we have a stacked molding for the cabinet box. I'll place one more wall cabinet off to the right hand side, and let's suppose that I want this configuration to look exactly like the configuration that we just edited. You can use a tool called the Object Eyedropper to transfer the properties from one object to another object. You'll find the Object Eyedropper in the upper menu, little eyedropper with an O next to it. You can click on the object you like and then click it to the object to apply it to, and that will transfer all of those attributes from that cabinet. What about the corner cabinet? If I click and apply it to this corner cabinet without making any changes, it will convert that cabinet to a regular wall cabinet without the corner. Let me press undo one time. The Object Eyedropper has scoping. If you click on a cabinet you want to copy the attributes, then in the lower left-hand menu are the select properties to paint. There are many objects it's going to transfer. All I'm after are the face configuration and the molding. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to clear everything, and I'm going to do a search for molding. And then I'm also going to do a search for face items. With these two items now being transferred, I can then click on the corner wall cabinet and transfer only those properties to the cabinet for the face item and the molding. I'll press the Escape key to get out of the selection mode, and then I'm going to slide this cabinet over against the wall. Let's suppose that with the sink base, if I have a window in this area right in here, and I want to take the wall cabinet and copy it to the other side of the window so I have the exact same gap between the wall cabinet and the casing. Select the cabinet, use the Copy tool in the lower Edit menu, use the Reflect About, come up either to the window or the cabinet, click, and it will exactly place that cabinet with the same gap. If I take this cabinet, set it as my default, it will update my defaults, and then when I place the final wall cabinet in between, it will fill that space. I'll press Escape to get out of the wall cabinet mode, and let's talk about the process for backsplashes. Wall cabinets, if you double click to open them up, have an option to create the backsplash to base below. The other option is for your base cabinets to have a backsplash. And in the base cabinet on the general panel, there is the option for a backsplash. And you can specify what the height and the thickness is. And if it's away from the wall, to click Always Present. Depending on your backsplash needs, you may have an issue filling the space right in here between the window and the wall cabinet and the base cabinet. Chief Architect offers a specific custom backsplash tool. You can either click and drag to create a small backsplash, or if you click on the wall, it will then do its best to fill the space. And then you can come in and edit it and pull it down exactly where you may want to have that backsplash come in, and it will cut out for the window or any other object that you have in that space. Full height cabinets can be edited in the same way as base and wall cabinets. Please see additional videos to learn more about cabinet editing, specialty cabinet shapes, manufacturer cabinets, wall elevation dimensions, and several other videos. Thanks for watching.